Godzilla x Kong, The New Empire. Alright, so let's just start by getting the negatives out of the way, because the negatives of these movies are always consistent, that they're basically just regurgitated every time one of these movies comes out. The human element in this movie, you take it or leave it. A lot of this does carry over from Godzilla vs. Kong. In fact, they reference events from that movie a lot, and Rebecca Hall and Brian Tyree Henry, as well as the little girl, all return for this movie. And they're fine. They're just the exposition machine. They're just there to tell you what's going on, because Kong and Godzilla, they can't speak, so all of these human characters just hit you over the head. They just spell it out for you, what's happening in the story. In fact, what's going to happen next in the story. And they're the thing that, like, you need in the movie. You understand why they need it in the movie, but you just don't care about it in the movie. Rebecca Hall in this movie, she's basically just kind of sleepwalking through it. Anyone could have played the part of Rebecca Hall's character. Brian Tyree Henry, though, he's doing what he can. He's there for comedic relief, and he did have me chuckling a little bit in this movie. So every time they cut back to this human story, I thought it was fine. I thought it was serviceable. It did what it needed to do to carry the movie, even if it was kind of annoying. Also, Scar King, the villain in this movie, kind of felt like an afterthought. He comes in really late into the film, and yeah, I think he might have like maybe 20 minutes of screen time, maybe half an hour. I'll be a little bit more generous than that. But yeah, for how much they built him up in the trailers, I was expecting a lot more Scar King, and he's fine, kind of forgettable. But like I said, the human element is always the weakest parts of this movie. You come to these movies for Godzilla and Kong, and let's just get into it. The best part about this movie is this movie knows we're here for the boys, and they give us the boys. More one than the other. We'll talk about that in a second. But when it comes to this movie, you're not expecting this to be Shakespeare. You're not expecting this to be a well-grounded, wow, this is a really good screenplay, nominate this for an Oscar. No, you want to see the big kaiju monster action. You want to see Godzilla and Kong on the screen, and you want to see that kaiju violence.
Why the need for so much gruesome, graphic violence? Why not let us imagine
Because it's so much fun, Jan. Get it?
And you get a lot of that in this movie. This movie knows exactly what it needs to be, what we want it to be, and it gives us what we want it to be. The action sequences in this movie are not far and few between. This movie is scattered throughout with action sequences. We constantly cut from Kong to the human element back to Godzilla, and the movie kind of has this rhythm of cutting to these three separate storylines and characters back to back. So you get great action with Kong, and then you have to sit through the human stuff and, you know, the story that's going on, and then they go great to Godzilla and the action that he's doing. It constantly just kept me entertained, and every chance that this movie has to give you that action that you're here for, it delivers in spades. But there's also something that this movie did that I was not expecting it to deliver as well, and that was with Kong, because this is called Godzilla x Kong. I know Godzilla is at the front of the title, but really, this is Kong's movie. Like I said, this is very much a continuation from Godzilla vs. Kong, where they found Hollow Earth. The whole movie takes place in Hollow Earth, and we're exploring Kong, trying to find his place, his family in Hollow Earth. And Kong has always been a more expressive character than Godzilla. You can tell more of a story through Kong. And one of the things that this movie did that I was not expecting it to do is it tells a pretty good, captivating story with Kong. At least in my opinion, it did. For a majority, like I'd say 85% of this movie, we are spent with Kong. And one of the things that this movie does that I thought was very ambitious is it's almost like a silent film at times. There are long sequences where we're just spent with Kong, and the whole story is being told through his face and his emotions and the way that the score is hitting the character. There is a sequence in this movie, I won't give it away, but it might have been like 10, maybe 15 minutes of just Kong and other ape-like creatures in Hollow Earth. There is no dialogue, but there is such a captivating story just being told through the visuals and the artistry. I will use the word artistry that is put onto the screen, because there is a lot more care put into this movie when it comes to Kong's story than I was expecting. Honestly, the action and the spectacle of it all is what I was there for the entertainment. But when it comes to the story, when it comes to what was the hook of the movie, it was Kong's storyline. And I thought, like, bravo to the filmmakers for that, because I was just going in for the big dumb action, and they delivered something even more, to the point that there's moments in this movie, I felt something. I felt something in Godzilla x Kong. I didn't have that on my 2024 bingo card. But like I said, the action also really delivers. And when it comes to Godzilla in this movie, I will say Godzilla fans might be a little bit more disappointed with Godzilla in this movie. Not that you don't get Godzilla, you get this moment, and oh my gosh, this moment is great. But most of the movie is Godzilla making his way to the movie, is the best way I could put it. It's kind of like we watch Godzilla travel. He might take out some foes here and there as he travels to get to the climax of the movie. But Godzilla sequences, they're not as entertaining as I wanted them to be for the majority of the movie. But like I said, you get this moment, and when you get this moment of Kong and Godzilla teamed up, it's glorious. It is so glorious. It is not without its carnage, and the movie kind of glosses over how much carnage is actually happening. This movie gives Man of Steel a run for its money of how much human lives get lost during these two's awesome battle sequences, but you just don't care because it's what you're there for, and it's just so much fun. And guys, honestly, that is the takeaway from Godzilla x Kong, and that's all that you could really ask for from a movie like this. You go into these movies, if you've watched the Monsterverse, if you watch Godzilla vs. Kong, you know what to expect with this movie. It is dumb, it's got human elements that you just gotta sit through, but ultimately you are here to see King Kong, Godzilla, the big kaiju monster action, and it delivers and then some. I had a blast watching Godzilla x Kong, more than I ever expected to. For a normal movie, this would be a weak recommend just because of, you know, the story elements that are there and the flaws. But with the type of movie that this is, and the type of movie that you know you want it to be, it is. And it is a solid recommend for a Godzilla and Kong movie. If you were looking forward to it based off the trailers, I think you're going to have a ball.
Because it's so much fun, Jan. Get it?
Anyway, guys, those are all my thoughts and opinions on Godzilla x Kong. What did you guys think of Godzilla x Kong? Did it deliver like it delivered for me, or were you a little bit let down by it? Comment down below. Let me know. I'd love to hear all your thoughts and opinions about that, guys. And if you're new here and you haven't heard, we have a goal on this channel. We want to hit 4,000 subscribers before the end of the year. If you like talking movies, King Kong, Godzilla, Marvel, DC, just movies in general, we do that all the time on this channel. We'd love for you to join us, be a part of this little community. Consider hitting that subscribe button before you make your way out. As always, guys, thank you so much for hearing me out, and I hope to talk to you guys again real soon.